that a nation can be under the captivity and oppression of the spirit of whoredoms? Did you know that it will take a national revival to change the direction and the course of that nation? In today's video, we're going to look at when to cry out for a national revival and how to take charge of where you are, of your community for Christ. I'll see you soon.
Welcome to my channel. This is where you have lots of devotionals, Bible studies, and encouragement through your faith walk. Now, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll see you
Hello,
soon.
you're welcome to my channel. My name is Ifeoma Samuel, and thank you for joining me here today. If you're new, kindly click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. You're welcome to our day 98, and today we're reading through the book of Hosea chapter 5 all the way to Hosea chapter 9. The theme of our discussion today is a cry for a revival. A cry for a revival. Now, in chapter 5, there are a lot of verses, okay, that caught my attention, so quite a number of them. Let's read Hosea chapter 5, verse 3 and verse 4. It says, I know Ephraim and Israel is not hid from me. For now, O Ephraim, thou hast committed whoredom, and Israel is defiled. Verse 4 says, they will not frame their doings to turn unto their God, for the spirit of whoredoms is in the midst of them, and they have not known the Lord. Now, this part, there are lots of verses that point to the iniquity or the where the people have fallen, including the pride of Israel, including the idols, idolatry, adulteries, the defilement of God's people. Now, there are lots of pointers. If you look at Israel of that time and look at the message and compare to where we are right now, this is not far from the truth. This represents or reflects the state of so many nations of the world. Now, the verse 4 particularly, I'm particular about that. It says that the whole country being under the dominion, okay, under the subjection of the spirit of whoredom. Imagine being trapped and held captive by this wicked demon. Now, I call it a wicked demon because whoredom, the spirit of whore, when you talk about harlotry and adultery, it is any sin that has to do with sexual perversion is heavy. It's not something to be taken lightly. And the enemy knows what to do. The enemy knows how to cripple a nation. If you look at today's world, you look at sexual desensitization, lots of sexual content, sexual idolization. Sorry about that. Like an exalting of flesh in that context, exalting of self. There are so many things that when we read through and we sit down a while and compare to what we see today, it is not far at all. It is not far from the present state of the world today, if not lighter, because I think the state of the world right now is worse than what we see. But however, that's not the cruise of today's discussion, right? However, when I got to verse 15 of chapter 5. This is what it says. It says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face in their affliction. They will seek me early. They will seek me early. This is God saying, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to just let you guys wallow in your sin until you acknowledge the places where you have fallen. Sometimes we say, oh, God is able to deliver. Why can't God rescue them? Why can't God do this? We kind of forget that we have our own part. This is a covenant that we have with God. God has his part. We have our own part as God's children. We have a part where we follow the instructions. We follow his commandments. We love him just as much as we can. We love him and pour our hearts. Because there's no way you kind of say you love God and you feel comfortable in walking in the path of the world or walking in the path of sin. Those two worlds are like this. They are antagonistic. They cannot come together. All right? They are like parallel worlds. They cannot meet in whichever way. But God is saying, I'm going to take a step back until you realize, you acknowledge that these are the places where you have fallen. So God is expecting us to sit back and do a self-reflection and say, these are the places where I have fallen. These are places where I have sidestepped. I have gone astray from the commandments or from what God has told me to do. Now, chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. This is where revival comes in. Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he has turned and he will heal us. And he has smitten and he will bind us up. Okay, that's the miracle. The point is, God is like us. Okay, we are created in his image. As a father or as a parent, when a child, you know, offends or you take an offense or a grudge against a child because they have disobeyed or they have done something so grave that you're wondering, is this my child? Because that the situation that people that have strong-willed children or children that have I don't want to use the word rebellious, but really there are children that are rebellious, and parents of such children are heartbroken. And it's heartbroken. Now imagine the prodigal father, the prodigal son, sorry, the father of the prodigal son, the state of heartbreak, the state of despair that he went into. Now compare that, just a comparison, like just to typify how God feels when we break his heart, when we turn around, after we've enjoyed all of his blessings and his goodness, and we suddenly start to think that we don't need him. There is no father, no mother that feels happy when their children openly reject their love, or reject their compassion, or completely forget the sacrifices that they have done up until now. There's no parent that is happy about it. Now, this is where, when they go through the situation, when they go through that moment of, you have to go through the consequences of your choices and your decisions. When going through that consequence, at that point, this is where it says, come, let us return. That point of, okay, I have been prodigal for a long time, I need to come back to God. Many of us are in this state where we're struggling so much through life, and we're wondering, and we still think that we can't do without God. We're not inviting God into very critical areas of our lives. Now, if you're listening to me and you've struggled a lot, quite a bit through life, I'm encouraging you. There are places where we need to surrender. There are places that we are holding tightly and we're not like returning. This is an encouragement for us to return. Yes, we have probably suffered consequences of some of the sins that we have done in the past, but God is saying something. He's going to heal us. God is not, I don't know how to put it, but God is merciful. God is compassionate. He's going to heal us. Yes, we have gone through the stripes, the season of the stripes. Now is a season for God to bind you up. Now is a season for God to heal us and put us together, right? Now, after 2 days, he will revive us. And in the third day, he will raise us up. And we shall live in his sight. That is, now in my Bible, I just did a good underline there, because it says, we shall live in his sight. Now, anytime we go away from his sight, we go away from his presence, what happens is the very opposite. When we are in God's presence, that is where our life is secure. That's where we live. We're not just existing. That's where we live. So we are living there in his sight, all right? Because we have come back home. We have acknowledged that these are places where we have gone astray. Verse 3 says, then we shall know if we follow on to know the Lord. Now, it's one thing for you to know that this is God. Oh, yes, I love the Lord. And then knowing him is about intimacy. It's about you connecting, having a relationship with God for yourself. That is where the know comes in. All right? It says, his going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain. I love that. As the rain. The rain is beautiful. When you talk about rain, and if you have a farmer's hat or you are really into nature, you realize that rain is a very powerful factor in survival. It's a very powerful factor when it comes to the whole world surviving, both plants and animals. Very instrumental. Now, the farmers always watch out for the rain because it matters, right? So he will give us the former rain and the later rain. It means whenever we go away from God's presence, we experience this wilderness, or this drought, this desert kind of a situation. But when God comes back, when we go back, okay, and then God comes to us, he's coming with the things that we have lost before and the things that he has for us now. The former rain and the later rain. That's a double blessing. God does restoration. We saw that in the book of Joel. God is in the business of restoration. When we come back, there is revival. Revival is about restoration. It's about God taking us away from all the things that we have lost. God is reinstating us, putting us back to the back in the estate, things that we have lost as a result of sin, as a result of disobedience. God is mindful to make sure that all the glory that we have lost, He's going to give us a double of it. Hallelujah. Okay, so I'm grateful for Hosea chapter 6 verse 6. I would like to talk about that. It says, "For I desired mercy and not sacrifice." What God is looking at is for us to seek His mercy. Either is the mercy that we're giving to showing kindness to somebody else, or the one that we're receiving from God. God desires mercy. Mercy is more to be desired than sacrifice, right? Not the sacrifice that you're giving, right? Then the knowledge of God more than burnt offering. God is more interested in us having a relationship with Him than the offering, the big amount, how much money we're coming to put at His feet. God is interested in having a relationship with you. Is interested in being intimate with you. Okay, so here are a few things I would like, as we recap. There's a bondage that keeps people, especially when it comes to the bondage of adultery, as we mentioned, whoredoms and sexual perversions. There are demons in charge of that. For us to break out of that, for us to break out of the territorial demons or national demons and stuff like that, we need to get into partnership with God. We need to be covenanted. We need to have a covenant with the living God. God is, for us to go through that process of deliverance, because that is really important, to go through the process of deliverance. Hosea 6, verse 1-3 talks about us coming back to Him. When we come back, there is healing. When we come back, there is God binding us up, the brokenness, because that's what sin does. It breaks us into 1,000 pieces, shatters us into 1,000 pieces. God binds us up together, makes us whole again, right? We shall live in His sight. Remember we said that. We're going to live in God's sight, and that's really important. And then we follow on, all right? We're following in His footsteps until we know Him. We have that intimate relationship with God. And we've talked about the outpouring of rain, the double rain that comes with revival and deliverance. Hallelujah. So rain is for prosperity, it's for fruitfulness, it shows life, okay? Rain shows healing. It's amazing that God is going to give you double of this. Hallelujah. So I'm excited to talk about this, and thank you so much for listening. As we wrap up, I would like to also mention Hosea chapter 9 verse 11-17. You may read that during your spare time, when you see the wickedness of Ephraim and the spirit of whoredom, how it ravages a people, completely wasting a people. There are some key words that, key phrases like miscarrying wombs, dry breast. I know what those mean. Those words communicate dryness, desolation. It's if you read all of that, you see how sin makes us lose God's glory. Okay, so this is an encouragement. I'm sure this video must have been a blessing to you. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. You're free to share this video, and by God's grace, somebody's going to get blessed listening to the word of encouragement. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.